Good morning, everybody. We are Group 5 from MBA class M0111, Delaware State University. Today, I would like to introduce you the most famous businessman all over the world. His name is Warren Buffett, and our group members include four members: Doan, Minh, Trong.
Good morning.
Mr. Nguyen Ngo Phong.
Morning.
And Mr. Kien.
Morning.
Mr. Warren Edward Buffett is the most successful business leader of 20th century in U.S., holding a vital position as the main shareholder, chairman, and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He's ranked as the world's wealthiest businessman in 2008, as the third richest person in 2011, and as the most influential people all over the world. Not only a businessman, he's a famous investor, but he's also well known for notable philanthropies. So in order to deeply understand about his life story to be the greatest business leader all over the world, we conduct an analysis project. Now let's start with the first part, the leader background. Warren Edward Buffett was born on 30 August 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska. He's the second child in the family, and he is the only boy. Dated to his childhood, he was very interested in investing, earning, and saving money. He illustrated he's very keen on the stock market and investment at the very young age. He started buying preset city service paper at only 11 years old, and after that he earned money. After graduating from the college, Warren Buffett had saved money more than 90,000 USD, very huge amount of money at that time. And let's look through his education path. He started his education at Grove Hills Elementary in Omaha, and followed by Ellis Junior High School. After that, he enrolled to Woodrow Wilson High School in 1947, and he moved to Wharton Business School of University of Pennsylvania from 1947 to 1949 as his father urged. And due to his father is failed from the Congress race, in 1950 he had to return home and transfer to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And he had graduated with the Bachelor of Science in Business Administration when he was only 19 years old. After that, he decided to enroll to the Harvard School University. However, he was rejected due to the fact that he was too young. And finally, he decided to apply for Columbia Business School and Master of Science in Economics from Columbia, and he earned the Master of Science in Economics from Columbia in 1951. And now let's look at her very early experience. In 1941, when he was only 11 years old, he started buying his first stock. And after that, in 1945, when he was 15 years old, he earned $175 monthly by delivering Washington Post newspaper. And then, in 1947, he purchased the used speed machine at the cost of only $25. And after that, within months, he earned money from this machine. And he also earned over 5,000 delivering newspaper in 1947. When he graduated from college in only 3 years, and saved money up to $9,800. And that's all from my part about leaders background. And now let's move to the second part of our presentation. I would like to introduce Mr. Trong.
Good morning, I am Mr. Doan I'm in charge of leadership value and philosophy. I just want to tell you about the way that Mr. Wallet lead people. And he have one, he says that he don't give people the chance to rule them. He always set up the rule. As you know that this man is very practical man. He always invest money in the market when the market is not stable, fluctuation. He thinks that it is time for him to get money, and it is. I think he is he ready to willing to take risk. He's a risky manager somehow like that, and he's very adaptive person. He can adjust himself whenever he needs. He tell his manager that no need to have a basic meetings. At the beginning of the year, he holds a meeting and tell them that I don't want to lose my money. He always consider partners and also the shareholders as the person who share the risk and also who earn the money together with him. And very interesting story that Bill Gates few years ago, Bill Gates wanted to see him, and Bill Gates asked his secretary to reserve only half an hour for the meeting. But you know that finally Bill Gates spent about 5 hours with him and also was persuaded by this man. If you ever read this story, you know that this man is very, how I say in business, we say that he has a business and can persuade people, even that people is very high level. And he's very, he earn money, but he know how to spend. So it is one thing to prove that he's a very practical man. He always asks the CEO of the company, never travel by his private airplane, however. And he have many things. You can see that slide, so we can see that he always choose the employee who is honest, able to do, and very hardworking. And also he request all staff and manager have a report, very clear report. And he's people who always think about macro. Okay, my past has been finished, and I just want to introduce His Excellency Mr. Phong, who I admire the most, to give his presentation, and I wish you will be successful, Phong. Thank you.
Hello, Professor. Now I would like to present my responsibility part. It's about his achievement and his goal through his life. So, Warren Buffett seemed to be born to become a businessman. He starts clearly when he was very young. As teenager, Buffett invested in Run Farm. It's one of his father business. In college, he continued on his path to billionaire. Most college students graduate with certain debt, but Warren Buffett did so with asset. If for the 2009 value is about $90,000 based on the inflation through the time. Warren Buffett's basic philosophy is to use market fluctuation while constantly strive for safe margin. Like Mr. Trong just explained, it's easy to invest risklessly, as doesn't take unnecessary chance. The root, the second is about the Berkshire Hathaway. Is found in Buffett's Fudge and Company, was formed by Warren Buffett in 1951, where he shown in investment until 1954. When Benjamin Graham retired in 1956, Warren Buffett had a net worth almost $200,000, and Warren Buffett's net worth increased just over $1 million in 1962. He must hit various partnerships into one entity. Not just billionaire then focus on Berkshire Hathaway, a textile manufacturer. To Warren Buffett, the key was Berkshire Hathaway working capital of $19 per share, which didn't include the manufacturing facility and not the 15% right. In 1969, Warren Buffett liquidated his partnership in Berkshire Hathaway share. As chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett took almost 50,000 annual salary, and also for building billionaire. In 1979, a share of Berkshire Hathaway stock soared from nearly $800 to over $1,300. So at 620 million, this put him on the possible 400 list. Not just a billionaire, but it's very, very close to. In 1988, Warren Buffett has Berkshire Hathaway started by Coca-Cola stock, eventually acquiring about 7% of the company. It remained one of Berkshire Hathaway the best investment. So in 2002, Berkshire Hathaway began speculating on foreign currency forward contract. 4 years later, Berkshire Hathaway was over 2 billion ahead. In 2006, he announced he was give 80% of his fortune to charity work, mainly to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In 2008, Warren Buffett becomes the richest man of the world, according to Forbes magazine. So I finished my part. So I would like to introduce Mr. Kien to talk about the lesson learned and the conclusion about the Warren Buffett. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Phong. I'm Nguyen Kien, and I would like to present to you the lesson learned from what Warren Buffett has achieved through his life and the conclusion we made through all the research we did.
From what we know so far, we can draw out some very critical lessons for our own leadership style in the future. And here is what we draw from business, from Buffett's leadership style. The first one is for business assessment. Very famous quote: never invest into a business that you cannot understand. So if you cannot understand, people will get you to a wrong way. The second one is the ownership style. We know that Buffett doesn't lead the business, but he leads the manager. So he tends to lead subsidiary to run on their own without supervising or monitoring at any degree. The third one is the attitude towards bad news. He always wants to be the one who knows the information to handle the bad news. The fourth one is the business reputation. He always hesitates that he can afford to lose money, even a lot of money, but the business reputation must stay the same. The fourth one, we talk about the competitive advance. So as he mentioned, a leader should not sleep in his victory or in the total market. And thinking that no one would ever threat his position on the market. Instead, we must keep going forward and keep leading the trend. The fourth one, the transparency and honesty. Buffett believes that it's a matter of forming the right habit. The chain of the habit are too light to be noticed until they are too heavy to be broken. People who stray from this value often show up on the world sheets many, and eventually they firstly shy, but later on they are self-destructive. And this is happen all the time. The seventh one, look on the bright side, even when you are in a very bad situation. But history and research show that there are even worse situation. So look on the bright side and keep moving forward. H, believe into yourself and your own thinking. That is very important for us, because if you follow the crowd and ignore the market, and ignore the crowd and its fashion, and do the thing that make you happy. For Buffett, money is not the final target, but do it for fun and do it for happiness, for your own thoughts. Yeah. Conclusion. In this paper, we look at the Warren Buffett lives and what he has achieved so far, and we also learn lessons from his leadership style. We look into his childhood and youth year in order to look at the laying foundation. Then we take a look at the Buffett manager style and create corporate culture need to be run and control his business empire. The foundation of success was laid at very early stage, as his father inspired him as a model of leadership and to follow. The determination and persistence of Buffett synthesized this into several ventures that he established before finishing his high school, gaining very valuable experience and information on the principle of doing business and deeply incorporating the pursuit of the success in him. His university education only bring up on things he already knew, but also was a time he to get acquainted with the idea of meeting his lifetime mentor Benjamin Graham, who taught him the principle of value investing. The gain of knowledge and experience combined with a suitable character to excel at life made success already a big part of Warren history. That's what made Warren Buffett really a successful investor, was a firm application of the principle he adopted. His alternative view on the market allowed him to exploit its flow and gain advantage over the mainstream investor. Moreover, his extreme ability to spot valuable business granted him the crown of the long-term sustainable growth. Thank you.
Our group have just finished our presentation, and thank you very much for listening, and I wish other teams will be successful. Thank you and goodbye.